Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
We are dedicating this entire deep dive to solving what is probably the single biggest choke point for, well, for anyone trying to build something online today.
Mm.
It's that huge, sometimes just soul-crushing gap between knowing things in theory and actually applying them to, make a living.
Oh, that gap is a killer. It really is. It's the difference between, say, knowing all the technical specs for a database
Right.
and understanding that a local business just needs a super simple way for customers to sign up for a newsletter.
One is theory, the other is value.
Exactly. The technical skills might get you, 20% of the way there?
Yeah.
But the professional application, solving that real problem, that's the other 80%.
And that's what we're focused on. The sources we have in front of us, they basically act as a GPS for making that exact pivot. It's this incredibly well-structured, AI-enhanced coaching guide.
Yeah, it's a blueprint.
It's a crystal clear blueprint to go from just learning all the time, that feeling of being stuck in tutorial purgatory. Oh, I know it well.
We're skipping that. We're jumping straight into the action.
So our mission for you, listening right now, is really clear. We want to distill this down into a concrete, step-by-step process.
Yep.
This whole deep dive is about taking those beginner web development skills you have and, supercharging them with these amazing, often free AI tools
And toning that potential.
into a real, verifiable portfolio that actually generates income.
So by the time we're done here, you are going to know exactly how to pick your first project, one that's actually, commercially viable.
Mm-hmm.
You'll know how to use specific AI prompts to get your design and content done efficiently, what clients actually care about, and this is the big one, how to confidently charge for your work.
And to give us some structure, we're going to follow the 5 core learning goals from the guide itself. So first up, we have to talk about identifying projects that have real market value.
Getting past the build a calculator type of stuff.
Exactly, moving into real business solutions.
Okay, what's second?
Second, efficiency. It's all about speed in the age of AI. So we're going to detail how you can use these tools for design, for generating structure, for deployment, not just for writing lines of code.
We want that speed gain, for sure.
Third is the portfolio. The end goal isn't just one project. It's about building a freelance-ready portfolio. We need to define what a good showcase project looks like and why aiming for about 3 of them is the right target.
Then fourth, we've got to hit the soft skills.
Yes.
The human side of it, understanding what a client is really asking for, managing their needs, and just delivering professionally and on time.
And fifth, this is really the engine behind the whole guide.
The whole thing.
Is setting up a clear, repeatable path that turns this whole learning journey into an actual sustained income stream. That's the promise.
I love it. Okay, let's get into it. So let's jump straight into section 1, which really gets into the psychology of this whole shift. It's called the transformative power of building.
And it asks this fundamental question: why is spending just 1 week building a real project often worth more than, say, 3 months of just watching tutorials?
It all comes down to these different stages of mastery. The source material breaks it down into 3 really distinct phases.
Okay.
So stage 1 is theory. That's, understanding the rules of the road. It's the syntax, the concepts, the stuff you read in a book or watch in a video.
Your classic classroom learning?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then you have stage 2, which is practice. This is where you're trying out those techniques,
Yeah.
but you're in a safe little sandbox. You can't really break anything.
Right. But stage 3, and this is the absolute key.
This is the bridge.
It's building real projects. And the guide uses this word that I think is so powerful. It doesn't call it application, it calls it transformation.
That is such an important distinction. It really is.
Why? What does that mean, transformation?
Well, transformation implies a permanent structural change in how you think and how you work. When you build a real project, you're not a student anymore. You're not following some perfectly curated step-by-step tutorial where everything just works.
Yeah, where all the assets are in a neat little folder for you.
Precisely. You're suddenly facing the messy, chaotic reality of the real world. Unexpected bugs, clients who change their minds, content that's missing, stakeholders who don't speak developers.
And the interesting thing is that friction, that messy reality, it forces you to develop all these non-technical skills. And honestly, those are often what determine if you're successful or not, even more than your coding ability.
100%. Take, for instance, just communicating with stakeholders.
Okay.
Let's say you're building a site for a local mechanic. They tell you they want it to look modern and fast.
Which could mean anything.
Exactly. A student might just grab a slick-looking template and call it a day. But a professional, A professional knows they have to translate that
Translate modern and fast into,
into concrete specs. You say, okay, by that we mean we'll use a clean mobile-first design, and we'll make sure the load time is under 1.5 seconds because we know that improves how many customers contact you.
Wow.
That translation, that is a marketable skill.
and then there's the stuff that just breaks, the unexpected problems.
Always.
In a tutorial, the code just works. But in real life, you realize the images the client sent you are way too big, or the hosting setup is weird, or some API you need to use is suddenly gone.
Mm-hmm.
That need to pivot, to troubleshoot on the fly, that's what builds real resilience.
It's huge, and resilience is key, especially when you get to feedback. I think this is the hardest part for new developers.
Oh, for sure.
That moment when you deliver your work, you're so proud of it, and the client comes back and asks for a fundamental change.
Like, can we make the logo bigger? Or I showed my cousin and he thinks we should use a bright yellow background.
Exactly. And your design sense is screaming no. But you have to learn how to handle that criticism professionally, how to maybe explain why that might not be the best for their business goals. But ultimately, you have to find a solution that works for them.
It's about solving their problem, not just making your portfolio piece look good.
And that process, negotiating, delivering under pressure, seeing it from the client's commercial point of view, that's what the guide says builds genuine confidence.
Right. It's not confidence from a course certificate.
No, it's confidence from your proven ability to deliver actual value to another human being.
Which I think is a perfect setup for this other big idea in the guide.
Yeah.
The difference between the creator and the professional.
This is a golden insight. It really is. The guide draws this bright, clear line. It says, the moment you complete your first real project, you become a creator.
Okay, so that's the technical achievement. I made a thing.
You produce something new. But, and this is the threshold, the moment someone uses it, you become a professional.
Wow.
It completely shifts your focus, doesn't it?
It does. You're not just building for yourself anymore. You're building something that has to hold up to external demands, like user experience and speed, and actually getting results for the client.
It's accountability.
Yeah.
That requirement for someone else to use it forces you to be disciplined about testing, about optimizing, about delivering.
So for anyone listening who's been stuck on tutorials for like the last 6 months, this is it. This is your call to action. Stop trying to master every little feature of every framework. Find one small problem that a neighbor or a friend or a local shop has and just build the solution.
That one delivery.
That one delivery instantly bridges that gap. It makes you a professional.
Okay, so we've established why building projects is so transformative, but now we have to tackle the biggest roadblock for most beginners, which is just analysis paralysis.
Oh, yeah, the what should I build problem.
Exactly. So section 2 is all about categorizing your starter project.
Because the possibilities are infinite, and that scares people into doing nothing.
Right. So the guide just cuts through all that noise and simplifies it into 3 practical, really beginner-friendly categories.
Okay.
The scope is defined for you.
Okay, what's the first one?
Category 1 is the foundation. It's the personal or portfolio projects.
So this is building for yourself, essentially.
Exactly. They are totally self-directed. The whole point is just to showcase your skills and, your design taste. You are marketing yourself.
The most obvious example here is your own personal portfolio website, right?
That's the classic. But the source has some more strategic ideas I really like. For instance, creating a showcase page called My AI Projects.
Oh, that's smart.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you're not just showing the final product, you're showing how you work. You're demonstrating that you're efficient and you know how to use modern tools to get results fast.
Or another one they mentioned was a blog about your learning journey.
Which I love.
Yeah.
Because that shows what people call meta skills. It shows you can reflect, you're consistent, and you can explain complicated things in a simple way. Those are huge pluses for any client.
And the tools for this category are all about speed and visuals, right? Things like Framer AI.
Yeah, Framer's fantastic because it's so visual. You're not stuck writing a ton of CSS. Then you have Replit for just spinning up a coding environment in your browser instantly.
And then Figma for design and Vercel for deployment.
Can we talk about Vercel for a second?
Please.
The reason it's recommended so often for beginners now is because it just automates the whole deployment process. You link your code repository, you push a change, and your site is live and updated. A beginner can launch a global website without ever having to learn what an FTP client is.
It removes so many old barriers.
It removes excuses.
Okay, so that's category 1. What's category 2?
Category 2 is where you start dealing with real people.
Yeah.
It's community or school projects.
So low stakes, but with real requirements.
Perfectly put. These projects are great practice for translating vague ideas into actual features, and the guide gives these brilliantly grounded examples from everyday life.
Like a website for a school club.
Or a local tuition center that needs to look more professional online. Or even a religious institution like a mosque that just needs a simple portal to post announcements.
Right, or a neighborhood welfare page.
These groups, they usually have zero budget for a big agency, but they are desperate for better communication tools.
They need a way to put up an events calendar or an intake form.
Or just clear contact info. The core here is utility, and the tools reflect that. The source suggests things like Wix AI, which has that all-in-one drag-and-drop environment,
And Bubble AI.
which is great for when you need a little bit of web app logic, but you don't want to write all the code from scratch. And something like JotForm apps, which is just fantastic for collecting data through forms easily.
So you're learning how to integrate systems, not just build a static page.
Exactly. And that brings us to the big one, Category 3. This is the target for anyone who wants to start earning immediately. Small business projects.
The guide literally calls this the earning potential category.
Because it is. These are direct paths to getting paid because you are providing immediate, measurable business value.
And we're talking about really simple, high-impact websites, things like a site for a local home bakery.
Or a mobile mechanic who needs a way to look legitimate online and maybe take bookings.
A real estate agent, an event planner.
Think about that mobile mechanic. Their whole business is word of mouth. A simple, clean website gives them instant credibility. It lets them show up in local search results. You're solving their #1 problem, getting new customers.
And the tools here are a bit more robust, built for business. Things like WordPress with AI.
The global standard, right? Now made even faster. Or SoftDoor, which is amazing for creating really nice-looking websites on top of a database like Airtable.
And even Canva websites, which is great for people who are strong on design but not on code.
And the guide sums up this whole section with a principle that I think we just have to repeat.
Go for it.
A simple website can solve a real problem. A solved problem becomes an opportunity.
That's freelancing 101 in 2 sentences.
It really is.
Yeah.
So for you listening, this is the moment. Use this structure. Pick one. Is it going to be a portfolio piece, a community project, or are you going to help a friend's small business? Just making that choice is the first real step.
Okay, so we've covered the theory, we've covered the project categories. Now for the proof.
My favorite part.
This is where it gets really interesting because we're looking at specific, documented case studies. These stories show that this AI-powered approach isn't just theory. People are monetizing, like almost instantly.
And the turnaround times are what's so stunning. We're talking 2 or 3 days in some cases.
And I love that these are anchored in a real-world context. Karachi, Lahore, Multan, with local currency. It makes it feel so much more achievable.
Absolutely. So let's start with case study 1. Ali. He's a 15-year-old student in Karachi. 15. And his project choice was perfect. He decided to build a website for a tailor in his neighborhood, right out of that small business category.
Okay, so what's the headline here?
The timeline. He built the entire thing in 2 days using Framer AI.
2 days. Why Framer? What's the advantage there?
Framer lets you design visually. You're moving things around on a canvas like you would in a design tool, and it's generating the responsive code for you in the background.
So for a beginner like Ollie, he doesn't have to get bogged down in complex CSS.
Exactly. He can focus on making it look good and making the information clear.
And what did he charge?
He charged 12,000 rupees. But let's break down why that fee was more than justified.
The outcome.
The outcome. This is the definition of value. In the first month after the website launched, the tailor got 27 new customers.
Wow.
27. It was a direct result of having a professional online presence with clear photos, pricing, and contact info.
That is an incredible return on investment for the tailor.
Phenomenal. I mean, think about it. If the average profit on one job for the tailor is, say, 1,000 rupees, Ollie's website generated 27,000 rupees in new revenue in the first month alone.
So his fee wasn't a cost. It was an investment that paid for itself in like 2 weeks.
He created a true win-win. The tailor was paying for results, not just for code.
Okay, case study 2. This one is Sana, a housewife in Lahore. Her project was a landing page for a home bakery. Another perfect small business example. You need a really nice visual aesthetic and a clear way for people to order.
And what's so interesting about Sana's story is her choice of tool. She used Canva websites.
Which really underscores this point that you don't need to be a coding wizard to make money.
Not at all. She leaned into the visual power and the simplicity of Canva, used AI prompts to help with the text, and delivered a beautiful functional website.
And she earned her first 8,500 rupees from a real client.
And that first paycheck. That's such a huge psychological milestone, isn't it?
It's everything. It's the validation. It proves the whole process works. Find a need, use a tool efficiently, deliver the solution, get paid.
It turns your skills from a hobby into a profession.
Okay, finally, case study 3. Umair. He's a university student in Multan.
And Umair's story is all about the power of repeatability.
He didn't just do one.
No, once he had the formula down, he scaled up quickly. He built 3 different websites. One for a car rental service, one for a tuition center, and a landing page for a gym.
That's impressive. It shows that once you have that blueprint, especially with the AI prompts for speed, you can really start to pump out work.
And his total income from just those 3 starter projects was 46,000 rupees.
That's significant.
It is. But the guide makes a really important point here. It says the confidence he gained was, quote, priceless.
And that's the real asset.
That's the engine. That's what's going to allow him to go after bigger, more complex, higher-paying jobs down the line. He literally went from being a student to a proven entrepreneur in just a few weeks.
So these stories are the proof. Simple local web projects accelerated by AI are the absolute fastest way to bridge that gap from learning to earning.
And those success stories we just talked about, they were only possible because Ali, Sana, and Umair followed a very specific, structured process.
Right, they didn't just wing it.
Not at all. And that brings us to Section 4, the 5-step AI-powered design blueprint. This is the practical, tactical core of the whole guide.
And we really need to start by acknowledging how much AI tools have changed the game.
It's a fundamental shift.
We're not spending most of our time anymore manually typing out HTML tags or trying to figure out why our CSS isn't working on a certain screen size.
No, the focus has moved up a level. It's more strategic now. Your job is to define the structure, the purpose, the content. You do that through really effective prompts.
So the beginner's role has changed from being like a manual laborer
To being a strategic manager of AI tools. You have to know what to ask, how to constrain the AI's answer, and how to iterate on what it gives you.
So let's break down this 5-step blueprint. Step 1 is planning the project. And the guide is adamant. You start with a plan, not with a design tool. Why?
Because a plan creates constraints, and constraints are your friend. Trying to build something without a plan is how projects get bloated and stall out. So the very first thing you do is use AI to generate a project management outline.
And the prompt they recommend is really specific, which I think is key.
Oh,
It's give me a step-by-step plan to build a simple website using free AI tools.
Those 2 constraints, simple and free AI tools, are a brilliant bit of prompt engineering.
How so?
By adding those limits, you force the AI to give you a response that's grounded in reality for a beginner. It won't suggest you go use some expensive enterprise software or complex cloud hosting setup. It keeps the plan actionable.
You're asking for the beginner's roadmap, not the senior architect's blueprint.
Exactly. And a really good plan prompt would go even further. You could ask it to, say, output this as a 5-point checklist with clear milestones and estimated times. The clearer your request, the better the output.
Okay, so once you have that solid plan, you move on to steps 2 and 3, which are the more creative parts, starting with design.
Right. Step 2 is about the visual blueprint, the aesthetic, the layout. And this is where AI can save you days of work through rapid prototyping.
So your prompt here needs to be descriptive. Something like, create a clean, modern homepage design for a home bakery website.
And you have to specify the tone.
That's
So for that bakery, you'd add, use a warm color palette with inviting rounded fonts. But if you were doing a site for a financial advisor, you'd say, use a blue and gray palette that emphasizes trust and reliability.
And what tools are we using here?
Things like Figma's AI features to get wireframes or mood boards or Izard, which can turn text descriptions into actual mock-ups. Even Canva's tools. The point is you're not coding yet. You're just quickly trying out visual ideas until you and the client are happy.
Okay, and step 3 follows right after that. Content, the actual words on the page.
Yes, the copy. This is often a huge bottleneck for beginners. But AI can do the heavy lifting.
So the prompt here needs to focus on tone and audience. Something like, write the homepage copy for my bakery website in a friendly, clear tone, targeting new customers.
Exactly. You're not just asking for words. You're asking for marketing language that fits the context.
Because a friendly tone is great for a bakery. But if you were writing for, say, a business-to-business consultant, you'd need a much more formal, authoritative tone.
And you'd specify the call to action you want. Include a call to action like get a free quote or schedule a consultation. You make sure the content is doing a job.
Okay, design and content are done. Now we get to step 4, generating the actual structure.
And this is where you make a key decision. Are you a coder or a no-coder?
2 paths.
Two paths. If you're on the coding path, you can use AI to generate your boilerplate HTML and CSS. A prompt like, generate clean, commented HTML and CSS for a responsive homepage based on this layout, and you feed it your plan. Gives you a solid foundation to build on.
But if your priority is speed and getting that first paycheck,
You go the no-code route. You use tools like Softar Bubble AI or Framer AI. These platforms basically take your design and content from the previous steps and turn them into a functional website almost instantly.
you mentioned Softar connects to Airtable. How does that work?
It's amazing. You could have a spreadsheet in Airtable with all of a bakery's products and prices. Softar can connect to that spreadsheet and automatically create a beautiful, filterable gallery of those products on the website, all in minutes.
That's the kind of automation that makes those 2-day projects possible.
It is. And then finally, step 5, the best part, deployment.
Getting it live.
The guide says it's now as simple as a single click. And thanks to platforms like Vercel, Netlify, Framer's Publish button, or even the WordPress.com free plan, it really is that easy.
And Vercel and Netlify have that continuous deployment, right?
Yep. Every time you push an update to your code, the live website updates automatically. All the complicated server management stuff is just gone.
It's all about speed. Get it planned, get it designed, get it built, and get it live as fast as possible.
That's the loop. That's how you go from being a creator to being a professional whose work is out there being used.
All right, so we have the blueprint for how to build fast. But that leads to the biggest question of all, which is what we get into in Section 5. Understanding client value and pricing.
This is where so many beginners really stumble. They end up pricing their work based on how long it took them.
Instead of the value it created for the client.
Exactly. And this section starts with a really important reality check. It clarifies what clients actually pay for.
And maybe more importantly, what they don't.
Let's start there. What do clients not want? The guide is super clear about this. They do not want fancy, over-the-top animations. They don't want super complicated designs or, some really complex custom-coded solution.
Why not?
Because complexity is risk. Complexity slows down the website, and complexity often just confuses the end user.
The person running the home bakery doesn't care if you used the trendiest new JavaScript framework.
No. She cares if the order form works on her customers' phones. She is focused 100% on utility and getting a return on her investment.
Which should actually be a massive relief for beginners, right?
It's huge.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a technical genius chasing the latest fad. You just have to be reliable.
So if that's what they don't want, what do they want?
It's all about clarity and function. They want simple websites. They want clear information. They want it to load fast.
Which we know is good for getting customers and for Google ranking.
Absolutely. They want it to look good and work well on a mobile phone, and they want it to be incredibly easy for customers to contact them.
The guide has this great principle for this. It says, deliver clarity, not complexity. Clients love what they understand.
That's the whole game. Their measure of success is so simple. Did I get more phone calls this month? Did my sales go up? Can I easily update the menu?
Okay, so with that grounded perspective, we can now talk about pricing in a strategic way.
Right. And the source provides this incredibly practical pricing guide using rupees, which gives people a real sense of the market.
A floor and a ceiling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is so important because beginners tend to drastically undercharge. And when you do that, you hurt your own confidence and you kind of devalue the service for everyone.
So let's look at the beginner rates, the absolute floor for what you should be charging.
Okay. For a simple one-page website, basically a focused landing page, a beginner should be charging somewhere between 5,000 and 15,000 rupees.
And if it's a bit more, say a simple business website with 3 to 5 pages.
That range goes up to 15,000 to 30,000 rupees.
A dedicated landing page, like for an ad campaign, is 5,000 to 12,000.
And a personal portfolio website, which often involves more design and content work, is in the 8,000 to 18,000 rupee range.
These feel like really realistic starting points.
They are. They're competitive enough that you can land those first few clients, but they're high enough to actually respect the value you're providing. Think back to Ali. He charged 12,000 and the tailor made 27,000 in the first month. The price was a bargain.
But the guide doesn't just give you the starting line. It shows you the path forward by listing the intermediate rates, too.
And that comparison is so motivating. For example, that simple business website that a beginner charges up to $30,000 for. An intermediate developer, someone with 5 or 10 projects in their portfolio, can charge up to $60,000 for that same project.
Wow, double.
It shows you that experience and a solid portfolio and the confidence that comes with it. It directly translates to a higher price point. You stop having to justify your price based on being the cheapest.
You justify it based on being the most reliable.
And the most important piece of advice in this whole section, I think it's a permission slip for every beginner listening.
What is it?
Your first 5 projects are for experience. After that, your confidence sets your price.
I love that.
Don't try to maximize your profit on those first few gigs. Maximize your learning. Maximize the quality of your delivery. And most importantly, document the great results you got for the client.
Because that documentation is what's going to justify you doubling your rates.
That's the asset that lets you move up.
Okay, so the project is done. It's live. The client is happy. You've been paid. You'd think you're finished, right?
But you're only about 90% of the way there. The job isn't truly complete until you do the final, crucial step, documentation.
Which brings us to section 6, building your digital CV portfolio creation.
A project you deliver is just a service you sold. But a project you document, that becomes an asset that you own.
An asset that works for you.
Exactly. You have to formalize that work into a compelling entry in your portfolio. This is how you turn one successful job into proof that gets you the next job.
And the source material is really rigorous about the format for this. It's not just a pretty picture. It starts with the basics, project name, and then, very importantly, the purpose.
And the purpose has to be framed in terms of the business problem you solve. Not, I built a website, but I built an online presence for a tailor that increased his new customer appointments by 27%.
Big difference. Then you list the tools used. And you have to be specific about the AI and no-code platforms.
Why is that so important?
It shows a potential client that you're modern and efficient. You're not going to waste their time and money doing things the slow, manual way when a tool can do it faster and better.
And then comes the part that I think is a real mandate for today's world. The guide says you have to list the AI prompts used.
Yeah, this is new. Why include the actual prompts?
Because it demonstrates transparency, efficiency, and maybe most importantly, it proves you know how to give clear, strategic instructions to a machine.
Prompt engineering is a skill in itself.
It's a highly valued skill.
Yeah.
Showing the prompts you used to generate a design or write the copy proves you know how to drive the AI effectively. And for a client, that means speed and lower costs.
Okay, after the prompts, you have the obvious stuff. High-quality screenshots and, of course, the link to the live website.
Verifiable proof.
And then the last piece, which I think is so important for showing growth, lessons learned.
This is where you demonstrate that you're a critical thinker. What went right? What went wrong? What would I do differently next time?
It's a sign of maturity, isn't it? A beginner might try to hide their mistakes. A professional analyzes them and learns from them.
Right. And this whole portfolio format ties directly back to an exercise from the coaching material called the reflection box.
This is designed to make sure every single project is a true learning experience.
Every project, no matter how small, has to answer 3 mandatory questions in that reflection box. Number 1, what real-world problem did I solve? You have to be able to state it clearly.
Number 2, who did I help? This keeps you focused on the user, on the client. Was it the baker, the mechanic, the school club?
And number 3,
Ow.
when will it be launched? This just drills into you the importance of deadlines, accountability, and professional delivery.
So by doing all this, documenting the work, reflecting on the problem you solved, and tying it all to a professional price, that's what completes the loop. That's what makes the transformation from learner to earner real and sustainable.
So before we wrap up, I think it's worth just quickly synthesizing the 4 big takeaways from everything we've discussed.
Good idea. A quick summary. What's number 1?
The first, and honestly the most important, is that real-world projects are the only way to get from learning to earning. Theory is fine, but it's not enough.
Right. Application is everything. Okay, number 2.
You have to pick a starter project now. Just choose one. Don't get stuck in analysis paralysis. Pick from one of those 3 categories and just begin.
Third.
AI tools are your leverage. They're your speed multiplier. Use them for design, for content, for structure, and build your portfolio faster than you ever thought possible.
And the 4th and final key lesson.
Understand your client's expectations. And that means delivering simple, clear, fast, mobile-friendly websites. You deliver clarity, you reject complexity, and you'll get paid for the results.
So what does this all mean for you, the person listening right now? We started this deep dive talking about that struggle, that gap between knowing something and actually earning from it. And I think what we have now is a very defined AI-powered blueprint. We have specific tools, we have realistic pricing, and we have real stories that prove even beginner skills can be monetized and monetized quickly.
That bridge from learning to earning, it's right there. It's accessible. It's not built on some secret knowledge or a complex algorithm.
It's built on just solving simple, real-world problems for local people and businesses who need help.
And your portfolio is just the professional record of you doing that over and over again.
We've covered the whole journey, from writing your very first strategic prompt to setting your first professional price and understanding that value comes from the outcome you create, not the hours you put in.
And the source material, it ends with this final pass for the reader, which I think is a perfect closing thought for our listeners.
What is it?
It asks you to define your purpose. We've spent this whole time talking about building a project to help someone by solving that problem. So now that you have the blueprint, you have the tools, you have the pricing, the real challenge is to define your specific purpose for taking action.
So, if we accept that knowledge is most valuable when it's actually applied,
What specific action will you take today?
which local tailor or home baker or community center that you know right now are you going to approach with this blueprint and offer to solve their problem?
Because that decision, that one action, to apply what you've learned, to prove your skills, and set your professional price based on the value you're about to deliver.
That's it.
That's where the journey truly begins. So get started. Use the structure, use the tools, and just remember, clarity equals cash flow.